Welcome. Thank you for joining me for a full moon reading. This is actually round two. I went through my notes of some scrying I did before this reading, and I had no mic even on. And I have to chuckle because the first thing from my notes was wondering if, did a rhythm get thrown off for you? And I have to laugh because my rhythm got kind of thrown off. And part of it is even like I've missed doing these new moon and full moon readings for people. So to do one for you feels very special. It's got me happy. But anyway, so when I did the scrying with some tea, I went ahead and I'm just going to go through these notes. Some of them are kind of weird. I'm going to actually go sort of order of timeline a little bit. The thing that you might see the soonest is growing out of something. And this was really great because it felt like you growing out from something dense, something clogged, something busy, heavy, those kinds of energies. And I loved that it had this curved growing out. You know, it almost felt like a snake, and so the transformation that symbolizes, but there's this very elegant, soft curve about the growth. And then we were kind of coming towards something sharp nearby, which I thought was interesting. That could be words, that could be an experience. Further down then, I saw kind of the furthest away from you was walls down the road. And now I'm actually seeing the pattern here. So these walls could be like boundaries, because again, there was a lot of density on one side of that, kind of like the growth. It was actually on the same side, that left side, so things behind you. And then on the right was open and expansion. And then the last thing, the one off that I saw, which was weird, was like a kidney bean. So that's for somebody. Don't know what that's about, because it's no medical advice. No, these are not medical readings, but I'm going to share what's here. And a kidney bean would be food anyway. And then the last thing I saw was a sparrow heading into the unknown. And this felt very soft and gentle, but hopeful. And it was beautiful because, again, like it was just the expansion opportunity when I saw just that empty space on the cup. And that actually felt like it, like timing wise, that would have been a little bit before these walls. So they definitely feel they're, I guess, related. And I mean, they're both putting you in a place of expansion to move forward. So let's go ahead and dive into the cards now for the actual tarot spread for the Gemini full moon. You might be watching this at a different time because Gemini is an important placement in your chart. You found this Gemini full moon a year from now, 3 years, I don't know. You're here for a reason, and thank you. And let's go ahead and start pulling out the cards. This first card will be, what have you been building since the last new moon? Four of Wands. That's such a wonderful card. Happy home. This is celebration. This could be marriage for someone here. But you've been really focused on building some joy in your life, which is really great. So let's look at where you see the most overwhelm, because that's how we're going to really tap into what this full moon is about. The Ten of Cups. So there's something about what you've been building that is also overwhelming you. Is this that you've taken on too much of the almost responsibility in making this happen, sort of forgetting that there's more than one person involved here? If this was the Nine of Cups, that would be more about your individual joy. But it's like you've taken on the responsibility of someone else's joy and how they play into this. But this is not single-sided. So let's look at the karmic connection here. Ten of Pentacles. You've got a lot of really good cards, but it's interesting seeing them play out because this makes me think maybe past life. Well, and we did say karmic connection, so yeah, this is definitely bringing up the responsibility. I need a clarifier here. Three of Cups. This could be playing out a couple of ways. This is making me wonder if this is becoming a distracting energy for you because you can't handle something else that's really going on. But it also is telling me All right, so this is what's going on is because this isn't necessarily bad. This is really good energy that you're in, but it's like it's also being used as a distraction from some sort of decision. And it's a decision that should be shared, but again, you've been taking on responsibility in this relationship and making it, yeah, like not, it's not that you're not willing to take the other person, but almost like assuming they won't do their part in making that decision. And you don't want to do it alone. So what's the bigger picture? I think that's going to help here. Five of Cups. Not seeing what you do have. Not seeing the help you've actually got. You know, it's like, and maybe that's because something hasn't panned out before, or you've had to do it alone so far, but there's someone here ready to offer something, give their 2 cents, so to speak. So what do you need to release? Queen of Pentacles. God, you've got a lot of confirmation for just don't do it on your own, in a sense. The Queen of Pentacles is also about unapologetically living the way she wants to, which can have a shadow version of that. Normally I love that, but it feels like here, you know, if you need to release that, there's something, and you're in a shared home now, that like there's something about that that needs to be shared. And maybe this isn't your home. Maybe this is more of a creative partnership. If it is, it feels very much familial, like you either are working with family or a dear friend. So maybe that's part of where these lines are blurring, is because you're doing this with someone. Yeah, there's an interesting dynamic there. So let's look at what you're not seeing. Knight of Pentacles. There's going to be some hard work that needs to come in. And this is actually making me think of those boundaries from the scrying before. Like that's going to be some slow and steady work to really put those into place. It's almost making me think of maybe boundaries with yourself in a sense, because you need to let the other person have some say in this matter. Well, so how can you ground some support? The Sun. I love it. It's the happy. You've got a lot of great cards. It's just like, yeah, it's making me think of how we said before with the rhythm being off. Like you're not, the cards are here, the energy is here for you, and you're just not tuning into it quite optimally. So celebrate. Like this is bringing me back to the celebrate card. Keep celebrating. Be joyful. Let's get a clarifier, because I know that might sound, I can hear how it's, oh my God. Okay, no. Spirit's saying quit with the brain and just celebrate. Stop overanalyzing how that sounds and let yourself feel that way. This is hilarious. I love it. So let's look at advice and next. That just wanted out. Next steps. Page of Pentacles. So you do have a lot of pentacles, and that feels like confirmation that yes, you could be looking at a relationship that's involved with some sort of creative endeavor or something you're trying to create in the world. I know that's the same thing. I'm trying to reiterate, though, that it's maybe not about the arts, although it could be, but whatever you're building with somebody. So the Page of Pentacles is letting me know you might need to take a step back. One step back, 2 steps forward. There's something about go back and revisit something. And it might be this choice, honestly. And again, it's not even that it's you metaphorically taking a step back to let this other person, again, be a part of that choice, because you're building this together, slow and steady progress. The Knight of Pentacles is the slowest knight out of the 4, but it's steady progress, steady building. I am going to kind of side swerve, because I wanted to bring in what the masculine and feminine energies are kind of trying to tell you right now, and I didn't do that. Having the 2 of those here kind of works with that polarity that Gemini goes over. was ready to apologize for how slow those cards were, and it came flying. The crossing initiation. That's what the feminine is trying to tell you. And I love, because this just came out for, I've done a few readings today. It was my chameleon reading. That won't be for many of you, but maybe if you feel called, you're going to listen to that one too. And then we have whale song, resonating. Interesting for the masculine to bring in resonating. So there's something about structure that requires coherence with what it's going to hold. And I love we have 2 portals. Very big initiation for you with this. There's something about how you work with others. This is interesting. And it makes me want to suggest too that you on your own also go do some research about what astrologers are saying this full moon really means. And look up your natal chart so you can start to see where that's impacting you specifically, because there's more here. This stands out to me. This was actually sitting kind of out. So again, I do feel like most of you, this is going to be a dynamic with a loved one, with a partner. The Lovers doesn't always mean that for me, but just with how every other card is coming out, this just feels like that, you know, happy home. But it's interesting because it also speaks to choice on even a larger scale than the 2 of Swords does. So the masculine with resonating and whale song, that's trying to teach you something about mastery. It could be mastery of your own energy. It's like I want to go deeper one-on-one with this, because there's something about, as it's the resonating, that would make sense with the energy between the 2 of you. All right, initiation, death and rebirth. There's some sort of ending of an old cycle here. There's that opportunity to end. And we did talk about kind of the karmic connection to close out, and sort of got a little stuck, but it's like, so there's, that might be what this is. Like, it's a story you keep looping, whether it's in this lifetime or in many lifetimes. It's a story that's been looping, and it's time to grow out of it. You're ready with the initiation. And the masculine's telling you you have the structure. Now, it's like the puzzle pieces fit to finally grow through it. There was something about before where it wasn't, these other experiences. Interesting. 7 of Swords, sneaky energy at the bottom of the deck. There's something about the other times where the energy wasn't right. It is time. So I hope this was helpful. It felt a little vague and odd to tap into, because you have such positive cards, but there is a strong karmic connection here that is, yeah, making this stuff feel denser than it should, thinking back to the scrying. And I hate to say should, because that's a perception thing, but the past perception has been like, this should all be hunky-dory. And it hasn't been fitting. Again, there's this curving growth. And I'm going to look back to those, because it, you know, I do want to say, going back to the idea of you growing out of something, that could be behaviors, that could be a dynamic. That doesn't always mean someone's leaving someone else's life. Now, if it does, you know, I say that with a lot of sympathy. And that is for you to know and determine. Your own intuition will tell you. This is just kind of confirmation of what you really already know in your heart. So however this comes through for you, work with this energy, really do some deep diving. This would probably be a really good reading or full moon to do some heavy journaling, whether it's free writing, like automatic writing, whether that's journaling prompts. There are so many great resources out there for how to kind of dive into that. Maybe pick one of these cards and journal about the imagery for yourself if it's standing out. If that feels valuable and you feel like you didn't get a great enough shot, totally reach out and ask for, I can share with you a picture a little closer of that card if you want. I don't know, that actually feels like a really great practice for somebody. So there's also Google, you know, the wonderful AI of reverse lookup with pictures. But anyway, I really hope this was helpful, and thank you so much for letting me step into this space with you, because this feels very sensitive. But I am sending you so much love, and I will see you in the next reading. Take care.